Hi, I'm Eric. This is the Longbox Review comic book podcast. Welcome to the show. This episode is going to cover the Titans Annual 2025 by Phil Jimenez, Arif Prianto, and Wes Abbot. This was one of my favorite comic books I read from last year, and there's so much to go through and celebrate. Before I get into that, however, I wanted to catch you up on what I've been reading. In January 2026, I read 92 comic books. Besides the usual DC and Marvel digital reads, I read all 3 volumes of World Tree. I'd been looking forward to this book for a while, and I was not disappointed. The premise is pretty simple. What if the internet connected to some other place? A place that is evil, more or less. There is a group of people working to prevent whatever is there from coming here. What makes this interesting is this group of folks who don't know if they'll make it out of this alive. But they do it anyway because they know what's coming. Then I read a bunch of old adventure comics, specifically issues 467 through 478. This is when the title brought Plastic Man and a new Starman as the star features, and Starman was co-created by Steve Ditko. Later on, they brought Aquaman into the series for 3 stories a month, and at that point, all for 50 cents. I mostly read these because of the Starman feature. I bought issue 473 off the stand and became interested in the character of Starman, but I would next read him in a DC Comics Presents issue that effectively ends his story. That is, until he reappeared in the 90s Starman series. Just when, I think it was Jim Starlin who did that issue, gave him a cooler costume. Now, a few decades later, I got to read the rest of that story, which spent too much time on the Queen falling for her brother, because Starman wears a mask, you see, and Starman clashing with the guy who wants to take the crown for himself. Some interesting ideas in there, but, it was just too short-lived and they didn't really get into it. I also finished the latest volume of West Coast Avengers. I read issue 1 a long while ago, and when I started into it again, I realized that all 10 issues were on the app. This had Ultron on the team, who was trying to do good and make up for its past sins. I thought for sure it would end up betraying Tony and the rest, but I was surprised by what happened. Just as interesting was the villain Killerwatt, aka Blue Bolt, which I found out was a new character for this series, I think, even though the way they talk about him makes it seem like he'd been around for a while. Anyway, he was also trying to turn over a new leaf, and I would be happy to see him pop up elsewhere in the Marvel Universe. I finally read all the comics I bought at Heroes Con last year, and I wasn't all that interested. In fact, there was one issue I bought because the creator made it sound noble in how it was pro-animal rights, but it was far too bloody for my taste. Also, I didn't even finish it. Another title, The Unstoppable Tough Girl, was all right. It was a Silver Age-esque superhero story with additional strips focusing on the lead character's dog as the hero, and Lil versions of her and her friends. Which, that was kind of fun to have the main story be the Unstoppable Tough Girl, as an adult, and then seeing her, earlier on, and then also the dog. And there were educational pages as well. I think there was something about figuring out the lift for a flyer. I'm not sure exactly. There's a few things like that, though. It's not enough to make me want to seek out more of this title, but if you have kids who like comics, this might be something for them. I've also been enjoying DCKO, Batman, Green Arrow, Arcadia, oh man, and Mortal Thor so far for the issues that are on the apps. Finally, shout out to the creators behind Cheetah and Cheshire, Rob the Justice League. The whole thing has been great, and they stuck the landing hard. It was just a really good story. So this is probably how I will address last year's reading pile concept. That is, I will chat about some comics I read in each comic book related episode I have planned for this year. So let me know what you think of this change.
Siskoid's blog of Geekery is Doctor Who, Babylon 5, animation, comics, toys, Godzilla, Star Trek, cats, crypto, role-playing games, Battle Shovel, X-Files, music, podcast, board games, Jack Kirby, Alien, movie, Kung Fu, dinosaur, and so much more. Siskoid's blog of Geekery, 10 years of content, more than 7,500 posts, still going strong at siskoid.blogspot.com.
So with that out of the way, let's get to the main event, Titans Annual 2025. Here is the synopsis for that annual from the DC Comics website. Donna Troy reflects on the many loves and lives that shaped her as she cuts a trail through New York City to meet her estranged father for the very first time. But what awaits her at the end of her journey will shock Donna and readers alike. So that's actually a pretty good description. I've not been very pleased with a lot of the synopses that they have for these comic books on the site. In fact, a lot of the older ones I was looking at for this episode, I was looking at some old New Teen Titans, and all it says for each of those issues that I looked at were enjoy this digital comic from DC Comics or something like that. That's all it was. No synopsis whatsoever. Anyway. The cover by Jimenez and Prianto shows Donna in her black and silver uniform, arms raised above her head and crossed at the wrists with a glow around them. The other Titans, Raven, Flash, Nightwing, Beast Boy, Cyborg, and Starfire, are behind her with Titan's Tower in the distance. What I always marvel at is when artists fill the black of her suit with all those stars, and in this picture, some seem to glow. I question the use of stiletto heels, however. I just never think that's a great choice for, superheroing. Anyway, kudos to how Starfire's fiery hair is drawn, and Jimenez draws her body differently than Perez did. I don't know if that is his choice or if he's following Corey's current look. Because I'm not up to date on how or what's going on in the Titans universe. It's just a pinup cover. It is a Titans annual after all, but it looks beautiful. The title of the story is Limitless, but that is not revealed until the end on the inside back cover along with the credits, which are, as I said previously, Phil Jimenez, but as writer and artist, Arif Prianto as colorist, Wes Abbot as letterer, and Andrea Shee and Brittany Holzer as the editors. The story opens with Donna on the Queens-bound S train. We are reading what turns out to be her response to her birth father, who has reached out to her by letter. And I have to wonder, is this the first time we've seen him on page? Is this a backstory element that was missing that Jimenez has decided to fill? I don't know. It is for me, at least. Anyway, she writes, "So what do I tell you about me? What do you deserve to know? What made you reach out after all these years? Did you feel guilty for leaving my mother? For abandoning me? What do you want from me?" This part of the scene already had me because I do not know my biological father. Having him reach out to me was a fantasy of mine when I was younger. I still wonder why he abandoned me and why my mom didn't tell me more about him before she died. I wanted to note at this point how Jimenez and Prianto draw and color Donna's hair. Black hair in comics was traditionally highlighted with the color blue, but here Prianto uses grays and what looks to me like a light purple. It gives Donna a more mature look, as do her wrinkles around her eyes shown in other panels. These characters are more mature. And I like that aspect where we see them aging and experiencing life in many ways. So, which is kind of contrary to the whole idea of, Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. Well, I guess not Wonder Woman. Well, and maybe not Superman either, but Batman for sure. Where, it's just, the guy's got to be close to 50 at this point. Anyway. A couple young men break Donna out of her thoughts. They see an island in the river, and one declares that is Titan's Island, which draws Donna's attention to look out her window. On that page, we see a great shot of the New Teen Titans Tower as it once was. One of the young men tells his friends some incorrect facts about the island and the team. He says, Tara created the whole island from, like, rocks and stuff from Newark and flew it over here to the river. And then Batman had their tower built in, like, 2 days. His friend says, I don't think that's right. Dude, I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, we know all these kind of people on the internet, don't we? Donna interjects, correcting some of the information, to which the young man objects, telling her the website he shows her says that Tara was a founding member who created the island. Donna tells him, I understand, but it's still wrong. She introduces herself saying, Hi, I'm Donna. Nice to meet you. And tells them that the site he's using is a mess, and she knows a more factual one, soliciting a curt, whatever, before they move away. Donna winks at the doubting Thomas friend as they get off at their stop, and then he tells his friend, Dude, that was Donna Troy. This prompts Donna to return to her father, asking herself if she should correct the mistakes he's probably read. At this point, we see her holding her phone, showing her entry on meetcute.com that provides a brief history. She's described as a Themysciran American superhero, photographer, and businesswoman who was once Wonder Girl, Troy, and Darkstar, and a member of the Teen Titans. Below that entry is a picture of the New Teen Titans with Jimenez recreating the group shot shown on the cover of New Teen Titans #1. I love these little details of the DCU and her life. Of course there would be websites claiming to know everything about the Titans or Justice League or whatever, and all of them would be at least a little or probably a lot wrong. Also, she's dating. You can see that there are 4 likes on her Meet Cute account. She then tells her father, I don't think it's the superhero stuff you're interested in. It's not what I'm interested in either. There's so much more. This is Jimenez telling us there is so much more to Donna, to these fictional characters' lives that we don't normally get to see on the page until this issue. Her thoughts drift to the beginning, to the fire. The next 2 pages are a shorthand for Donna's life from being saved by Diana to being in the orphanage, her brief adoption, then jumping ahead to when she was Wonder Girl, her time with the Teen Titans, her romance with Speedy, starting her photography business, meeting and divorcing Terry, and the death of her son, Robert. All of this is told in 3 slanted pages, or panels, spanning the pages, with the bulk of the art showing Wonder Woman saving Donna from the fire. I loved how we get so much history in, really, so little space, meaning that 3rd slanted panel at the bottom. Besides the touchstones already mentioned, we see her doll from New Teen Titans #38, a newspaper article about the Teen Titans with a photo of them springing into action with Superman. I wondered if this was from an actual story published by DC, but I couldn't find anything. So if you know, please let me know. There's an image of another newspaper or website announcing the Titans being kidnapped with a picture of the Technus entity, and another announcing her and Terry's divorce. Also, for some reason, the cover to this issue is in the bottom right corner of the page. And that is not the only art that's reproduced in this annual. Donna thinks about her time with the Amazons. She says, it's impossible to describe how magical it was. What an honor it is to be part of that lineage, to be loved. And here is the first appearance of a toddler Robert running toward Donna, arms reaching for her. She finishes her thought with, without condition, along with an extreme close-up of her left eye. The lines surrounding that image suggest surprise in her reaction, almost like Robert is a vision, not a memory. Jimenez also draws Amazons and gods standing around on the train as Donna reminisces, and I thought that was a really nice touch. It also reminded me of his work on Wonder Woman Historia, and why haven't we gotten a follow-up to that? She recounts a specific memory of her time on Themyscira when Diana came to visit her. She tells Diana of an encounter with her mother, Queen Hippolyta, in which Donna was mocking the Amazon Queen for not letting her hang out with a merboy. Hippolyta sees Donna doing this and simply walks away. Here, Jimenez gives young Donna a look of surprise and shame. The 2 sisters talk about how strict Hippolyta is, and Donna tells Diana, why would she want me when she has you? Why would you? She asks Diana why she chose Donna to save from that fire. There's so many others that she probably did the same for. She asks, "Do you think you made a mistake bringing me here? Do you even like me?" Diana consoles Donna, telling her she does indeed love and like her very much. Also, "You've always been a gift to us all, but most especially to me." Here, Jimenez is filling in decades of supposed interactions between these two women, interactions that make sense between sisters, especially when the older one is always away and seemingly has little time for her younger sibling. Immediately after this exchange, Donna tells Diana, "I want to return with you to man's world, as an emissary of both worlds, as Wonder Girl." This is a great change from the origin I first encountered in Teen Titans 22. There she is given a dose of the purple ray so that she didn't feel so incompetent, so weak. The implication from her story is that in that issue is that Hippolyta gave her this gift. Now, Donna is the one advocating this change for herself. She tells her father, "I've met the gods, Dad, but I suddenly knew how it felt to be one, how it felt to be a Titan." Here, Donna recounts the adventure that formed the Teen Titans, their fight with Antithesis, which was revealed in Teen Titans issue 53, and how she was the one to call this team the Titans. She also compliments Robin on his leadership during the fight, prompting him to email her his thanks and invite her to a party for the group. And here is where I love being able to read comics digitally, because I struggled to read the text of that email in the physical issue. On that day, Donna arrives at Wayne Manor at the front door. She greets Alfred, announcing, "Hi, I'm Wonder Girl. I'm Wonder Woman's sister and a princess of Themyscira, and you're Alfred Pennyworth." She stands there looking up at Alfred, so confident and with a smile. Alfred responds with, "Yes, I know. I was expecting you at the back door. Diana dropped me off here." This will not happen again. I love this exchange. It's similar to how Diana needles Batman in various stories I've read over the years. Donna says of the night, "All those websites say the Teen Titans became a team the day we defeated the Antithesis. But there's a night no one knows about, the night we became a family." After Alfred escorts her to the Batcave, the 5 teens gather together. Speedy says, "Sup?" Robin tells her he talks like that all the time. Aqualad tells her she's perfect with 2 cute little hearts next to his word balloon, giving that earlier image of Speedy kissing Donna while Aqualad looks on, disapproving, some context. The boys then marvel at the Batcave while Donna says it reminds her of Tartarus, the Greek underworld. Alfred tells her, "I'll take that as a compliment." "I assume you'll need no help with these louts then?" Perceptive as always, Alfred knew just minutes after meeting her that Donna was a capable young woman. She tells him that she'll be fine and, "You have a way. You must be a very kind father." Given what happened in the Nightwing title after Alfred was murdered by Bane, this comment is on the nose and heartbreaking at the same time. At the bottom of the page is a thin horizontal panel of bats flying against a bright full moon, which I thought was a great way to transition to the next scene and tell us some time has passed. After discussing their parents and how most of them died, Speedy, of course, turns the conversation to sex by asking who's gotten to second base, excluding Aqualad because, look at you. Donna tells them that she's never been to any base and I've never been kissed before. Robin says, "You haven't? But you're so beautiful." Speedy, of course, makes a lame joke, prompting Kid Flash to tell him he's a jerk. Donna says, "Speedy's just limited." She lays down, a sad look on her face when she admits, "I just want someone to sweep me off my feet." A little later, Donna is in the kitchen munching on pineapple upside-down cake, something they do not have on Themyscira, she says, after Robin joins her. He tells her, "I'd kiss you, if you want. I know it's a really big responsibility, but I think I'm ready to take it on." "You'll kiss me? Is that weird?" "It's a little weird." And then she kisses Robin, surprising him. This is shown in a large circle panel with all those action lines around. She has grabbed his shoulder, her eyes are closed, and she seems to be kissing him fervorously. The 3 panels that border the right side of the circle show her pulling back, both of them looking at each other. And then she smiles and asks, "Did you feel anything?" Robin says, "Nuh-uh. Donna, me either." I call BS. On Robin's part, I mean. This fits the narrative we've had for decades where Donna and Dick have been the best of friends and only that. But a teenage boy who only, minutes ago maybe, said how beautiful she was and is kissed by her doesn't feel anything? Bull. Anyway. Shortly after, the group sits around talking and Robin makes a reference to a girl he knew who turned out to be Clayface. Of course, I had to figure out what that was referencing. I could not find anything in the comic books in my short search, but this appears to be from the new Batman Adventures episode Growing Pains, where a recovering Clayface sends a portion of himself disguised as a girl into Gotham to assess the danger of his resurfacing. Along the way, the girl encounters Robin and he falls in love with her. I've never seen this episode, and so now I have to go seek it out. Anyway, Batman then kicks them all out, and Donna is cognizant that Robin needs to know he's safe despite his indiscretion of inviting them over without Batman's permission. She later finds Batman and tells him, not suggests, tells Batman that Dick is terrified Batman will give him up. Donna asks him, reminds him, wouldn't you have wanted the same at his age? He thinks he's going to lose you, and that would be like losing his parents all over again. He loves you so much. If you love him too, then please, let him have this one thing. Let him have friends. Without a beat, Batman tells her, you'll take care of him? I promise we'll take care of each other, as a family does. It's very clear that Donna is being shown as that familial glue that holds the Titans together, at least at first, and even if it is a retcon. And I am all for it. In the next scene, we see Donna's and Dick's friendship grow through the years, as well as her interest in photography, which was something that was a surprise to me when I first saw it in New Teen Titans, issue 8, I think. She notes how they would talk for hours. My regret is that we didn't actually see that play out on the page in the Teen Titans series, though in the New Teen Titans, I recall dialogue referencing their friendship from before. At the bottom of this particular page, we see the cover to New Teen Titans 38 recreated. Donna says, he's my best friend. But he's something more too. He's family. Again, that theme. The following page is a wonderful near splash page showing the New Teen Titans in an homage to New Teen Titans #1. The later members are shown below the main group: Speedy, Omen, aka Lilith, Bumblebee, Flamebird, Aqualad, and Aquagirl. This is an interesting lineup to show considering that Flamebird is a retconned Batgirl that was a member of the West Coast-based Teen Titans. Bumblebee joined the team late in the first volume, issue 45, but including her here matches what was shown in the World's Finest Teen Titans miniseries. The final person is Omen, who was originally part of the Adam-led 1996 Teen Titans series by Dan Jurgens. While this doesn't match publication history, including more female characters on the team earlier on seems on point for Jimenez. The next friend Donna focuses on is Princess Coriander, Starfire. By this time, she has opened Aurora Studios with designer Carl, and this is the same Carl that we saw in New Teen Titans 8, the famous A Day in the Lives issue. There, however, the ad agency was called Silver Fox. I do not recall if Aurora Studios was ever used in the New Teen Titans comic books I read, but it is a much better name regardless. In this scene, Coriander is now modeling with Donna, and none other than George Perez and Marv Wolfman, or at least their facsimiles in this story, choose her for their campaign. And the photo we see that they are seeing is similar to an image that was used in New Teen Titans number 42, with Corey in a swimsuit and heels in front of a space backdrop. Following that, Donna compares all of her sisters, who have gathered together for her bachelorette party, to the goddesses she's familiar with. Aquagirl is like Thetis, mother of Achilles, and Tethys, one of the titans of myth. Flamebird is like the huntress Atalanta. Bumblebee is like Athena. Sharon, Donna's former roommate introduced in Teen Titans number 22, is like Cora of Sicyon, considered the first female painter of ancient Greece. Raven is Hecate, Tara was Apathy, the personification of deceit. Duella Dent, the Joker's daughter, among other pseudonyms, is described as mad, like the Maenads who worship Dionysus. Lilith is like Pythia, the Delphic oracle, and Cori. She says, beautiful as Eos, powerful as Thea, and as passionate as Aphrodite. Someone who became the sister Donna always wanted. I love how Jimenez is rooting Donna even further with her Amazonian heritage. Of course she would make comparisons like these. Also, I think Jimenez is bragging a bit with his Greek gods knowledge. Back on the train, Donna says to her father, all parents want to know that their children found love, found partners. And she's thinking of Robert again as we see him crawling across the top panel. Robert is placed right above the second panel below, which is a close-up of Donna's face and her eye, similar to before. And this composition suggests she sees Robert in her mind's eye. To me, it's just great. Her recalling her bachelorette party has her thinking about her past loves as well, including Roy Harper, and we get a duplicate image from that earlier teen magazine cover showing Speedy kissing Donna. This is juxtaposed with her swiping on a dating app. After she departs the train, she talks to Dick, who is literally tied up in a Riddler trap, and tells her it's kind of fun, to which she replies, "You're so weird." This conversation is a great encapsulation of their friendship. And just rings so true, because I've said things to my friends as well like that. She calls Dick, although they don't get tied up in Riddler traps. She calls Dick to complain about a fight she had with Roy after what appears to be a hookup. Dick offers to kick Roy's ass, and Donna admits that she's never had chemistry with anyone like Roy. Feigning hurt, Dick says, "Rub it in, why don't you?" And Donna says simply, "Oh, stop." Their camaraderie just feels so real to me. Donna announces she's arrived, but before she hangs up, he asks her, "Have you told your other family about this yet?" Donna's other family, the Evanses. Introduced in New Teen Titans 38, Mother Faye had adopted Donna as a baby, but had to give her back after her then-husband Carl, there's that name again, different Carl, died. Later remarrying Hank Evans, they have become, as she calls them, her mortal family. Of course, they are supportive of what she's doing, as any good family should be. Finally, Donna has arrived where her biological father lives. She knocks on the apartment door, and before someone answers, we get an insert panel of Robert, now sitting, sort of looking to the left panel where Donna was. Carlos Rivera answers the door and invites her in. She asks for her father, Lou. "I'm so eager to meet him. I know it took me a long time to come. I'm very grateful for his patience. It's been hard." This scene reminded me of when I went searching for my biological father. I was about 12 when my mother told me that the man I thought was my biological father had adopted me after they married. I asked her if she knew where my biological father was. She did not, so I spent the next 7 years looking for him off and on. One time, I thought he was living in the next town over. This was before I could drive, so my mom drove me over there. I couldn't bring myself to get out of the car. I started crying. And my mom asked if I wanted her to go up to the door to inquire, which she did. It turns out he was not there and the person did not know him, so the search continued. I did eventually find and meet the man, unlike poor Donna. Carlos tells Donna he's sorry, but Lou passed away a month earlier. Again, we get a close-up panel of Donna's eye, followed by Robert's head looking up and over toward her. The shock and pain on her face in the next panel is superbly and subtly drawn by Jimenez. She says, "I don't understand. He wrote me this letter. He wanted to meet me." Carlos tells her that Lou was a closeted gay man when he married her mother. After Donna was born, he left them to go to Mexico City, where he met Carlos and they became a couple. Lou didn't know how to find Donna after the fire, but deduced Wonder Girl was his daughter because of how much she looked like his wife. While he wrote letters to her, he did not send them before he passed. It was Carlos who sent them because, "I wanted you to know your father." Donna's clearly agitated in the following panel, saying, "He was worried I wouldn't accept him for being gay? I was raised on Paradise Island, for God's sake." I'm so glad DC is now okay with acknowledging lesbian relationships between some Amazons. Looking at a family photo of the three of them shown in the background, Donna says, "I'm so angry." Lou abandoned her and her mother, so how does she forgive that? Donna knows she was always aware of his absence. "My childhood was idyllic, and yet I spent my whole life feeling disconnected, wondering who my birth parents were. Who you were, Dad." This is similar to how I felt. After I met the man whom I was told was my biological father, he never kept up the relationship. Worse, I was told by other family members after my mom died that it was another man whom I have never met who was my biological father. Regardless, neither man wanted to know me, apparently. I felt like something was missing, even though I had a dad. And later, a stepfather, my late stepfather, who was the father I needed. Carlos takes Donna to a fire station in Queens because Lou worked there. It also happens that it was the station battling the blaze Donna was rescued from all those years ago. One of the firemen tells her that he thinks Lou worked there as an attempt to make up for the past and that he wanted her to be proud of what he did. Later, when Carlos mentions her son, Donna tells him, "It's funny. I feel like he's been with me all day." She tells him of the time she spent with an illusion of Robert during the JLA Titan story. "He was so loving and so happy. He wouldn't leave my side, and he never stopped laughing. That's how I knew he wasn't real." Carlos counters that maybe that was Robert. "We live in a world of miracles, so you must know your little boy's spirit isn't in heaven angry with you, condemning you for something over which you had no control. That's not how love works. So how can you be sure that wasn't the real Robert? He's in a place now where only love matters. I think he just might have wanted to let you know that." A few weeks later, Donna is home. She's sad to think that her father felt she was better off without him in her life. "But I know what a terrible burden that feeling must have been for you. I hope, wherever you are, you've found peace." I applaud Donna for her empathy. I certainly don't really have that towards my birth father, whichever one it is, but reading this did make me see things a little differently. As she looks at a wall covered in pictures of her past, she thinks, "My life has been so full, and I think in some way I'm grateful you made the decision you did, because it gave me something amazing. It gave me this vast, crazy patchwork quilt of a family, and it taught me to love without limit." This wall of photos is made up of some previous images, such as those showing Donna and Dick in their various costumes, Corey's ad picture, and some Titans group shots. But there's also a picture of, I believe, Mrs. Cassidy from the orphanage as seen in New Teen Titans 38. There's also a newer photo of Donna and Carlos, and one final picture of Robert. Points deducted, however, Mr. Jimenez, because the placement of the pictures shown in the first panel is not matched on the next page in the close-up panels. But I'll forgive that little slight oversight. We then cut to Carlos's apartment and the introduction of Zoe Casas Rivera, Donna's sister, who appears to be a tad jealous of, quote, Little Miss Perfect. Will this come into play later? One only hopes. Donna is walking outside and talking to both Dick and Corey on the phone. She tells them that she couldn't stand those erroneous Titans websites anymore and started the process to address the fallacies, which is a wonderful callback. She also tells them the dream she had about Robert, how he kissed her goodbye and vanished into the stars, free of earthly restraint. This, I do not think, was really needed. It's a nice sentiment, but that talk with Carlos was the better resolution to the guilt and pain she was feeling. Donna enters a restaurant to meet one of the young firemen she met. He says, "Hi, I'm Eric," which, by the way, made me very happy, considering how long I've been in love with this character. Even though this Eric looks nothing like me and I'm a happily married man of 35 years. A boy can still dream, can't he? The next page is a splash showing beautiful Donna smiling and repeating her refrain throughout this issue. "I'm Donna. Nice to meet you." I wouldn't mind having that page as a poster or something. The final page shows Dorothy, her mother, playing with Robert as Lou joins them in this white void that we have been seeing Robert in throughout. Both Dorothy and Robert reach out toward Lou, beckoning him. The three of them embrace and then walk into the white. So this displays what Carlos was saying about Robert being in a place of love. And I really like that. There's also a similarity here with the final page of New Teen Titans 38, where panels of black descend to the bottom, getting slimmer as they go. In this issue, the panels are differently constructed, but they too get slimmer as they go down the page. Another great callback. I've often said that New Teen Titans 38 is my favorite single-issue comic book. Given that this annual is a sort of sequel to that, and an expansion of the story of one of my favorite DC characters, this is probably a very close second. Both issues touched on my feelings of abandonment and the idea of a patchwork quilt family. I love the way Dick and Donna's friendship is described and strengthened in this issue. I love that there's no superheroics. It's just a quiet but still high-stakes story about family, friendship, loss, and love. Damn, comics are great, aren't they? Thus, I bring to a close this annual, which I have mentioned many times that I wanted to do this particular spotlight on. So, if you have feedback about this annual, or anything I've said here about it, please send me an email at longboxreview@gmail.com, leave voicemail or text me at 208-953-1841, or converse with me via social media at longboxreview. Don't forget that you can buy Longbox Review merch at my TeePublic store. Thanks for listening, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye. Donna announces she's arrived before she...